Hi everyone, my name is Heather Hanslick and it's my birthday today, but I am very excited to share this brief presentation on how climate change impacts land surfaces. I would love to begin with mentioning some of the natural ways that land changes. Water, ice, and wind erode and shape land. Earthquakes and volcanic activity change landscapes immensely on land and in the ocean. Plate tectonics reconfigure continents and surrounding water over very long periods of time. These natural occurrences often take millions of years to yield results. However, in the very recent time of human existence, Earth's landscapes have become unrecognizable. You can see some of our contributions to that. Climate change is no longer the underlying cause of the physical changes that we see. Global warming caused by human activity has not only sped how natural landscapes would change, but human activity has reshaped land surfaces in drastic ways that continue to contribute to a catch-22 relationship that we have with global warming. There are many great resources that help us see and understand these changes. Two agencies that I love to review material from are NASA and the NOAA. They've got great records of satellite imaging and are always updating those. So how does climate change impact landscapes on a global scale? In a study published in Earth's Future, a journal of the American Geophysical Union, researchers discuss a computer simulation that they developed to illustrate how Earth's land ecosystem would be affected by the failure or success of the Paris Agreement. So this is a great model that they came up with, and they used percentages as well, if how well the agreement would work if it were enforced entirely in the countries that participate, and then lesser amounts as well. So if you are unfamiliar with the Paris Agreement, it is a legally binding international treaty on climate change. Countries that are involved are to implement strategies that make changes both economically and socially in an effort to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, with a goal to reduce global warming by 1.5 degrees Celsius by the end of this century. In this collaborative effort, countries involved will help each other financially and share technology. The U.S. rejoined the Paris Agreement on February 19th of 2021. So in these simulated models, they suggested that climate change and land use change had already caused major ecosystem changes to 25 to 30% of Earth's land surface by the start of the 21st century. With land use change being responsible for twice as much land surface change compared to climate change. The physical changes taking place in conjunction with increasing temperatures lead to extreme weather. And we are seeing rising sea levels, rapid permafrost thaws, severe drought and flooding, as well as an increase in wildfires, especially in the United States, western part of the United States, and all over Canada. There are many things affected that we are not seeing, but we will feel impact from. The increase in extreme weather conditions will just factor into the speed at which surface changes continue to take place. So cooling our planet will alter our weather, and altering our weather will curb how it manipulates land surfaces. And another notable impact that we are seeing globally, pertains to mountain landscapes. With mountain glaciers in retreat, communities and cultures are witnessing landform and ecosystem changes at a much accelerated rate. Water sources are in jeopardy. Increased risks of avalanches, rivers are flooding, and they're changing course. And landslides these are just a few more of the impacts from these mountain changes. Animals that live on mountains change the landscape as well. They're goats and different things like that live in herds. And when they're having to relocate for the purpose of food or water, they will not only change a new territory's landscape, but it also poses a threat for their species survival. Let's see. I'm going to move back over here. Another notable impact that we are seeing globally pertains to, on a regional scale, is phenology. Phenology and soil biodiversity are actually two things that I want to talk about that correlate, and they depend upon one another and can change everything about a landscape. Phenology is the timing of the annual cycles of plants and animals. Increases in temperature, drought, or precipitation are a few of the ways that disrupt how species will function in an ecosystem. In some areas, bloom seasons are longer, and in others shorter, as a response to climate change. Many insects and animal species haven't adapted to these changes, so a lot of them are in their cocoons when they should be out and pollinating a plant, and sometimes now when they're coming out, the plant isn't in bloom anymore, and so that's how we're seeing these interruptions. And so they aren't able to pollinate or benefit from certain species of plants, a lot of these insects. This causes both the animal and plant species to disappear from an area, and it changes the landscape, obviously. We're starting to see an emergence of species in areas that we haven't seen before, and a loss of species in areas that we have known to have always had a presence. It's imperative that we continue to study and understand these changes for agricultural purposes. And one of my favorites, soil organisms. They act as the primary driving agents. I'm going to move myself again here. For nutrient cycling. They decompose organic matter, release nutrients into plant available forms, degrade toxins, and form relationships with roots and pathogens. They influence how minerals become soluble or weather. These all-important dynamics are influenced by temperature and moisture. According to Saima Khurshid from the Department of Agriculture, long-term increase in temperature observed under climate change has been shown to influence soil microbial respiration. The respiration of these microbes is an important factor concerning the overall organic matter decomposition and how carbon is stored. And we definitely want our carbon stored as much as possible. So I chose these particular points in an effort to demonstrate how something as small as a microbe in soil and as large as a mountain is affected by climate change. I'd also like you to think about how all of these components relate and depend upon one another. We survive in a delicate balance. Some living things are more resilient than others, but our efforts should lean towards preserving as much life as we can. Here are my references, and I thank you so much for your time.